आवाज अच्छे से आ रही है।
आवाज
सर शैल वी स्टार्ट?
क्या मेरी आवाज आपके पास आ रही है?
यस सर, आपकी आवाज आ रही है।
वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड। अच्छा, हाँ बिल्कुल, शुरुआत करिए सर प्लीज। हाँ
ओके सर। Myself, Dr. Rajkumar Patel. I am going to cite the speaker, today's speaker, Dr. Ashish Kumar Singh. Dr. Ashish Kumar Singh is affiliated to the Department of Engineering, Electrical Engineering, Motilal Nehru Institute of Technology. Dr. Ashish Kumar Singh is currently providing service as a professor and serve as a head of department in electrical engineering. Dr. Ashish Kumar Singh has published numerous publications in various national and international peer-reviewed journals and presented scientific paper across the world. Because of the active association with the different society and academics as well as the contributions, Dr. Ashish Kumar Singh is been recognized by the subject expert around the world. Dr. Ashish Kumar Singh contributions are appreciated by the various reputed awards. Dr. Ashish Kumar Singh clinical and scientific research interests include power quality, power system, AI application in power system. Sir, please. Sir, please share your screen. सर से फोन पे बात करें।
लाइट आ गई है क्या?
सर,
हेलो
सर प्लीज शेयर
हाँ,
योर स्क्रीन सर।
अभी बस कर रहा हूँ, एक मिनट। यहाँ लाइट चली गई है, नेटवर्क का इशू है। आई डाउट कि कैसे ये कनेक्शन मिल रहा है इसको।
ओके सर।
जस्ट ए मिनट। हाँ अच्छी नेटवर्क चल रहा है। हाँ डॉक्टर साहब, एम आई ऑडिबल? हेलो, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है मेरे पास।
यस सर, यू आर ऑडिबल सर।
ओके, दैट्स ग्रेट। आई एम सॉरी, जैसे ही आपने मुझे इंट्रोड्यूस किया,
यस
जो
सर।
आपका इंट्रोडक्शन था वो इतना धमाकेदार था कि हमारे यहाँ पावर फेलियर हो गया। So now I'm connected through a this thing, mobile network. So it may take some 1 or 2 minutes to disconnect. Yeah, just a minute. Give me some time so that I may just rearrange these things. Well, I'm sharing my screen. Is it visible now?
Yes sir.
Oh, that's great.
Sir, if possible, please make it full screen.
Yeah, it is full screen.
Yeah,
I have
yes, yes.
made
Okay,
it full screen.
Okay, sir.
Just let me check it again. It is full screen. Yes. So now it is full screen. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, that's great. So thank you, Dr. Rajkumar, for introducing me. And thank you for I must convey my thanks to the organizing team for giving me this opportunity to express myself in the presence of all the participants who are attending this AICTE approved FDP AI 2020 at Department of Electrical Engineering, Rajkiya Engineering College, Sonbhadra. So I welcome you all. As introduced by Dr. Rajkumar, that myself, Ashish Kumar Singh, is presently a professor in electrical engineering department at MNNIT Allahabad. Let me introduce about my institution. That MNNIT Allahabad is a 60 years old institution, which started in 1961, and electrical department of MNNIT Allahabad is one of the 3 departments which started at that time. And presently we are running 1 BTech course, 3 post-graduation MTech courses, and we offer research in several areas of electrical engineering. So as explained by Dr. Rajkumar, that my domain area of working is electrical engineering, basically power system and power quality. But as the organizers instructed me to work to deliver deliver on this title of my presentation, that artificial intelligence and overview. So I'm just trying to attempt present few things and few points regarding the overview of artificial intelligence. I request all to please mute during this talk. If you are not having any question, you please mute yourself as per the standard protocol of such events. And if you have any query, you may raise your query in between, or we may discuss in the last. So I will be presenting it through some 30 number of slides only, and the target time is 75 minutes for the presentation. And the last 15 minutes, we will plan definitely for the question answer session. So humankind has given itself the scientific name Homo sapiens, that is man the wise, because of our mental capacities are so important to our everyday lives and our sense of self. The field of artificial intelligence, or AI, attempts to understand these intelligent entities. Thus, one reason to study it is to learn more about ourselves. But unlike philosophy and psychology, which are also concerned with the intelligence, AI strives to build intelligent entities as well as understand to them. Another reason to study AI is that these intelligent entities are interested and useful in their own right. So this is our old philosophy from where the importance of intelligence has started. So AI has produced many significant and impressive products, even at this early stage in its development, as we know that it is almost 50 or 55 years old. So no one can predict the future in detail, what will happen tomorrow. But it is clear that computers with human level intelligence or better, that is under a question mark, would have a huge impact on our everyday lives and the future course of civilization. AI addresses one of the ultimate puzzles. How is it possible for a slow and small brain, whether biological or electronic, to perceive, understand, predict, and manipulate a world far larger and more complicated than itself? So how do we go about making something with those properties? These are very hard questions. But unlike the search for faster than light travel or an anti-gravity device, the researchers in AI has solid evidence that the quest is possible. All the researcher has to do is look in the mirror to see an example of an intelligent system made by God in form of a human. Yes, AI is one of the newest discipline in the field of technology, and it was formally initiated in 1956. Although at that point, when this name was coined, this artificial intelligence, the theme, the work, that was some more than 5 years old. It all started in 1950 when Alan Turing, a scientist, asked the question, can machines think? And that Turing's experiment has made him world famous, and we are still in quest of solving that Turing's test, how that is, which is going to decide are the machines technically advanced or better than human being in terms of thinking or taking decisions or implementing those ideas. Turning's paper, Computing Machinery and Intelligence, in 1950, and its subsequent Turing test established the fundamental goal and vision of artificial intelligence. The major limitation in defining AI as simply building machines that are intelligent is that it does not actually explain. Questions are, what artificial intelligence is? Number one, this was the first question. And second question was, what makes a machine intelligent? The study of intelligence is one of the oldest disciplines in the human history. You can find that it is available in the literature that almost 2000 years back, philosophers have tried to understand how seeing, learning, remembering, and reasoning could be done or it should be done. Yes, the advent of usable computers in the early 1950s has turned the speculation and concerns in mental faculties into a real experimental and theoretical discipline. Many felt that new electronic superbrains had unlimited potential for intelligence. Faster than Einstein was a typical headline in those days when this thing was published. But as well as providing, this only was a mean for providing a vehicle for creating artificially intelligent entities in those days. But the computer provided a tool for testing several theories of intelligence, and among those, many theories failed to withstand the test. And that was the advantage of this turning time when our concepts were being established and being tested and being validated. AI has turned out to be more difficult than many at its first imagined and modern ideas. However, AI currently encompasses a huge variety of subfields, from general purpose areas such as perception and logical reasoning, or a specific task such as you can say playing chess, providing or proving mathematical theorems, writing poetry. I saw a software some 15-20 years back that was capable of writing poetry. If you give that in input, you give some key terms, and that was kept successful in writing a poetry for you. And this I'm talking about 1994-95. That was the time when this development was there. And right now we are using artificial intelligence for route tracking. We are using it for diagnosing diseases, etc. Workers in AI can choose to apply their methods to any area of human intellectual endeavor. In this sense, it is truly a universal field. The major limitation in defining as simply building machines that are intelligent. But that is to actually explain, we are still in quest of the questions what AI is and what makes a machine intelligent. Intelligence is the computational part of the ability to achieve goals in the world. Varying kinds and degrees of intelligence occurs in people. We teach intelligence to the animals sometimes when we train them, and we try to learn and reconfigure the machines as per our uses, and that is also comes in this category. This is AI is actually based on the principle of human intelligence, which can be defined in a way that machine can easily mimic it and execute tasks. And tasks, they are falling in the range from very simple, just like adding two simple numbers, or very complex, such as autopiloting the aeroplane, or Google is experimenting right now on the driverless cars. So these are the examples or the tasks which may be executed to artificial intelligence. Let's we shall start our presentation. Definitely we will start our presentation with this preface, and we will initially talk about the motivation, we will talk about the several definitions, and then we will move on to what AI is doing for us and how it is doing for us and what are the certain challenges. So artificial intelligence generally refers to a group of techniques that attempt to mimic certain aspects of human brain or natural behavior or its nature. The AI was first coined by John McCarthy in 1956, and that was the Dartmouth Summer Research Project on artificial intelligence, where his motivation was that every aspect of learning or any other feature of intelligence can be so precisely described that a machine can be made to simulate it and to mimic it and do it. So definitely on this basis, it was defined as a set of sciences, theories, techniques, that is mathematical logic, statistics, probabilities, computational neurobiology, and computer science that aims to imitate the cognitive abilities of a human being. Marvin Minsky in 1963 defined it as AI is the science of making machines do things that would require intelligence if done by humans. So this was definitely an attempt to train the machines as per our requirement, and to which we call intelligence. There are several definitions. Literature is full with different definitions of AI, because this was a concept which everybody was trying to implement with his own ways. So Bellman defined it as activities. Basically, this term AI was not used in that, but this concept was very much old. This is not a new concept, right? So activities that we associate with human thinking, activities such as decision making, problem solving, learning. One other definition in 1995 that was given as Dean et al. In his paper, the design and study of computer programs that behave intelligently. These programs are constructed to perform as would a human or an animal whose behavior we consider intelligent. Another definition was given by Kurzweil, where they defined it as the art of creating machines that perform functions that require intelligence when performed by people. Lager and Stubblefield given as a branch of computer that is concerned with the automation of intelligent behavior. Nielsen in 1998, it defined it as human mental activities where intelligence is required, such as writing computer programs, mathematics, solving mathematics, engaging in common sense reasoning, understanding languages, and even driving an automobile. If you see this list of tasks, which were thought by this Nielsen at that time, you can all these things are possible right now. Like driving an automobile, yes, it is possible. We are using vehicles which are driverless. Successful experiments are being done. Mathematics, understanding language, yes, Google Translator is available. It translates any language to any language is available, and you can get a translation right on the web with just a click. So these things are possible, and at the base implementation, we can say the initial implementation of artificial intelligence is right now being exhibited in our daily life and in our daily uses. Rich and Knight proposed the study of how to make computers do things at which at the moment people are better. So definitely the target was to develop the machines which are working better, which are making better decisions, which are doing the work with a more efficiency and more accuracy than human being. That was the target. And definitely these are the things which were required for some very specific jobs for which we were training humans on the basis, or we were respecting our experts on the basis of their heuristic knowledge, which they used to learn or they used to earn through their experiences. Shakov in 1990 gave a definition that a field, or this AI is a field of study that seeks to explain and emulate intelligent behavior in terms of computational processes. Winston again gave a definition that the study of computations which make it possible. Yes, the basic functions which humans do, they are to perceive, reason, and to act. And the similar thing Winston also expected from these machines. Hughesland gave a definition that exciting new efforts to make computer things. Basically, computers are the hardware, but it is the software which makes it to think. And we, what we do through this program, we basically assign that task, and how to do that task, we give it to that, and accordingly, it solves the problem. But right now, you can see that there are several robots. Last year in 2019, I remember, in Kochi, one robot was traveling around the world by its manufacturer, through its manufacturers, and the robot name was Sophia. And Sophia attended a corporate meet, and she answered all the questions asked by the corporate guest in that function. So that was the limit of updated limit of the technology available, where computer can think also. Basically, that is a computer. And what is behind that? It is listening, it is observing, and it is giving the question answers with some facial expressions also. So facial expressions will also being shown by that robot. So in this way, this artificial intelligence has traveled a lot on the basis of these parameters, which were expectations initially by these scientists. The study of mental faculties through the use of computational models. This is the definition by Vermont. In his book, Brar and Feigenbaum given AI, they defined AI as part of computer science concerned with design of intelligent computer systems. That is, systems, how they define intelligent systems, that systems that exhibit the characteristics associated with intelligence in human behavior, which is understanding, language, learning, reasoning, and solving problems, and so on. So these are the few things which are still being achieved. Few of them have been achieved by this artificial intelligence, and for the remaining things, works are going on. Targets are being changed every day. Technology and tools, they are changing every day, and everything that is towards the substitute of human thinking, human intelligence, that is on the target to achieve. So in summary, we can say that artificial intelligence is simulating, modeling, or mimicking human behavior in order to usefully do something that humans do, reveal something useful or interesting about humans, make a machine easier for humans to use, and entertain oblique instruct humans, right? So that was basically just to train. Human is basically trying to train and just trying to avoid those things which they treat as a more cumbersome to do, which they treat some boring to do. So they simply want an alternative, and for those things they are trying to develop artificial intelligence. And definitely that is an opportunity also for human to save his time and do it for some better activities. But definitely this is a threat also, that someday human may be obsolete, as he may lose those characteristics for which someone else has been trained by the human only. So these definitions, they formed a basis to decide 4 possible approaches to pursue in AI, and those approaches were: systems that think like humans, systems that act like humans, systems that think rationally, and systems that act rationally. So right now here we can see that there are 2 different approaches are clearly classified. One you can say as a human-centered approach, and second as a rationalist approach. So rational thinking approach and human-centered approach, you can compare them as that a human-centered approach must be an empirical science where hypothesis is involved and its experimental confirmation is required. As we all know that we have discussed and read so many empirical formulas, and we know that how these empirical formulas are established. Then there are some rationalist approach. They involve a combination of mathematics and engineering, and only rational thinking is behind the establishment of these formulas or these approaches. So if you classify them as different systems, that acting humanly approach was just to decide that systems that act like humans. And for that only in 1950, Turing's test was proposed by Turing in his paper. Then comes the acting rationally approach, where the systems that act rationally, and this approach we have discussed earlier. Then comes the thinking humanly approach, that comes as a cognitive modeling approach also, where system thinking like humans are. Then comes the system that think rationally, and that is thinking rationally approach. This we are. So what is this thinking humanly approach? The acting humanly approach is that is symbolic AI. Any system, human or machine, exhibiting intelligence must be operated by manipulation of data structures composed of symbols. We generally use expert systems for these, and expert systems, several sort of expert systems are available, and their applications are also available that they are using, and they are being available in the domain of this industry and daily use. The thinking humanly approach, that is the cognitive modeling approach, is focuses on the theory of intelligence, closely tied with the brain-like structure, right? Just like ANN they have used, it has been very successfully used in pattern recognition, motor processes, and learning tasks. We also have used it in electrical engineering. We use it for forecasting of daily load, electric load, and some recent applications are in the classification and of the activities. So several things are going on like this. The thinking rationally approach, that is the laws of thought. So this laws of thought was basically this Aristotle who first attempted to codify the right thinking, right? So his famous syllogism provided pattern for argument structure, right? And that giving the correct conclusion. A very famous example of this is Socrates is a man, all men are mortal, therefore Socrates is mortal, right? So this syllogism provided by Aristotle was really made the basis for these laws of thought, and they were supposed to govern the operation of the mind, and this initiated the field of logic also. So the development of formal logic, which took place around 19th and early 20th century, provided the precise notation of statements and where this logic was being applied for making the programs. And all this stated that all kinds of things in the world, they were included in that, and the relation between them was also considered for it. So this was definitely different from the ordinary arithmetic notations, providing mainly in terms of equality and inequality statements, and that also about the numbers. So these are the two different approaches. The thinking rationally approach, this formed a basis for this thing, development of this for the programs. And what happens by 1965, programs existed that could, given enough time and memory, take a description of problem in logical notation and find the solution of the problem if it exists. And if there is no solution, the program might never stop looking for it and then keep on working for it. The so-called logistic tradition within AI hopes to build on such programs to create intelligent systems. So there are two main obstacles in this approach. First, it is not easy to take informal knowledge and state it in the formal terms required by the logical notations, particularly when the knowledge is less than 100% certain. And second, there is a big difference between there are two different conditions. One is being able to solve a problem in principle and doing so in practice. So definitely there is a big difference of execution. One is the conceptualization, basically when you show that you are being able to solve a problem in principle, and when the second part is the execution, when you are actually doing so in practice. So even problems with such factors can... What happened? Any questions?
Participant, it's requested to please mute yourself. Sir, please continue.
If you have a... Okay, thank you. So, so what we were discussing, the obstacles, those obstacles was the first was the lack of this informal knowledge, and second was the difference between... Yes, what happened?
Nothing, sir. Sir, please continue. It's,
actually, some noise is there. I thought someone is asking some question.
Sir, I am checking. If anyone is asking, I will let you know, sir.
Okay, please. Do not let me know. Just mute that mic so that if anyone has any query, they can ask in between, or they can, as I've discussed, that we will have a 15-minute slot in the last of the lecture.
Yes, sir.
We can discuss those things there. Okay. So even if you feel that there is something very important which is to be discussed in between, we are open for it. No issues.
Yes,
Okay. So even the problems with just the fact that they may exhaust the computational resources of any computer. So there are certain problems exist unless it has some guidance as to which reasoning steps to try first. And in that way, we just simply try to prove some problems whenever we provide some solutions. This is also one of the measure to compare it with earlier proposed solutions. Yes, the new solution is more computer resource efficient, or it is taking lesser time, or it is taking lesser computer resource, and that's why this new solution is better. So that is always a upgradation in the technology and the solution proposed. So both of these obstacles apply to any attempt to build computational reasoning systems. They appeared first in the logistics tradition because the power of the representation and reasoning systems are well defined and fairly well understood. So now I will try to describe some basic ABCD of the artificial intelligence. I found it very interesting, and that's why I'm simply trying to discuss with you that A is for artificial intelligence is to synthesize programs and machines that can replicate human intelligence in artificial systems. And B is intelligent agent with built-in intelligence. A true AI program should have ability to perceive the world around it, autonomously decide its actions, and should be able to adapt itself to the changes. And there is a term intelligent agent. It is defined as an identifiable entity which can sense the environment around it, have its own beliefs and goals, is autonomous in choosing its actions, it is flexible in learning, and has ability to adapt to the changes in the environment and proposing the new solution in the new conditions or in the new environment. Example is the intelligent software agent based computational approaches are used across varied disciplines, from computational sciences to business organizations, and their solutions in different scenarios we usually discuss to solve complex optimization tasks, to understand the dynamics of markets and economies, to design better organizational structures and business policies. So these agents are being so widely used that it has become a full-fledged discipline and research area known as agent-based computing. C is the collective intelligence. Collective intelligence is defined as the ability of a group or simple agents working together to solve bigger and complex problems, and that can be solved by a single problem solving agent. We have the persons from different engineering branches, they can identify or they can recall several such problems are there which are being discussed in the technology and for the engineering solutions. So one of the example is the collection of these simple agents is called swarms, and the new branch of this is emerging as a swarm intelligence. Swarm intelligence can be defined as any attempt to design algorithms or distributed problem solvings inspired by the collective behavior of social insect colonies, other animal societies, or some natural examples related to the growth of some tree or the herd of some animals, etc., etc. Any questions? Any questions?
No, sir. I think there was some. Hello.
Acha. There is some young participant, I think.
Yes.
Very curious. Yes, I feel happy that very young boys, they are ready to listen about the artificial intelligence, and definitely I can say the future of AI is much better. So this multiple agents and the capability of self-organizing tolerance fault makes these strategies highly suitable for complex optimization tasks, which we are taking. Number of such things to solve is increasing day by day, and these are also very good research problems also. So in these domains, where this complex operation tasks are required, we can use this swarm intelligence techniques, and different new such optimization techniques are being coming on the daily basis. They are coming, and several new techniques people are applying on it, and they are getting better results. And there are some standard sets of benchmark sets of the problems where on which these new technology techniques, they are tested or validated for before they are being approved by the community. Next comes the derived intelligence. So these AI techniques of intelligent information retrieval and data mining are used for this extracting meaningful information, because this data volume is increasing day by day, and this is getting larger and larger. So what is happening right now? Every day new app is coming, every day new user is coming, every day new device and new type of device is appearing, right? So definitely this all is adding in the new amount of data, and definitely that this devices, they are being improved on the daily basis. We can say the processing speed is also getting better day by day. We are expecting 5G to appear in some time. So definitely this flow of data will also increase in that way. So definitely we must understand, my point is that what I am trying to say, that the amount of data and the flow of data with the speed of with the high speed of their flow, they are going to appear. So definitely in such environment, this application of AI, that is there are different techniques are required where this data mining or this clustering of data and how to utilize this data, that maybe that we have to think on how to use it. So there are several statistical averaging and aggregating techniques are available with user transaction and browsing history. They are being used by the countries, these companies, global, this international companies, and sometimes you will surprised if you use your browser once for some air travel between two places, and you are planning for a holiday in some point of time after 1 year, right? But whenever you will open some other page, you will keep on giving a message about either the air travel or either by the hotel stay or something like that. So this is possible just because of the artificial intelligence. If there is something who is having eye on your activities, and accordingly they are trying their best to give you solutions, or they are trying to sell something to you. But in some senses, it is also, you can say this is a threat also, that they are having an eye on your privacy, on your data uses. So it is the time when we have to be very careful about our privacy of the data, privacy of our data which we are using, and about the solutions which we are going to use for our problems. So these are the things which are to be keep in mind while using or handling this artificial intelligence. So definitely we can say that by this discussion we can understand that the aims of AI are to produce artificial humans or animals, to build systems that exhibit human intelligence, to learn more about human intelligence, or trying to emulate it in a machine, to build systems that behave super intelligently, that is yet to achieve. And it is not easy to achieve. What I feel that basically human is also improving himself day by day. So there is no threat that to the human being that they feel any threat for this super intelligently behavior of the machine. That day is too far. Definitely the other aim is to build systems which can do boring or dangerous tasks that only humans now have to do, to build useful machines using mechanisms inspired by human intelligence. And definitely you can think a lot about these aims of artificial intelligence by seeing some, if you have seen some movies where this AI has been utilized for doing something very unbelievable, and they have produced so many things. I do not remember the names of those films, but there are so many films where the use of artificial intelligence has been done for showing unbelievable things. This artificial intelligence includes, you can say, machine learning, and within that, deep learning. And it also uses evolutionary computation, fuzzy logic, cognitive modeling, natural language processing, hybrid systems, agent-based systems, etc., etc. What are the examples of AI? I can show you a list. I hope you will be agree with it, that we are having some smart assistants with us, like Siri in iPhone, Alexa with from Amazon, and this Google Assistant with Android. We can use this AI for disease mapping and prediction tools. As very recently, we have seen several examples in different geographical locations for this COVID-19. And another example is manufacturing industry, and we can manufacture drones, we can robots, and we can train them intelligently. And also we can ask for optimized personalized healthcare treatment recommendations from the software. We have seen that several hospitals during COVID, they have used robots for the initial checkup. Then there are conversational bots. They are available on various sites. Whenever you open some website, there appears a bot for marketing and customer services. Then there are robo advisors for stock trading. They are available online. Then you use these spam filters on your emails. They are also some example of AI. Then there are several social media mentoring tools. There are the latest concern about the dangerous content or fake news, and a lot of research is going on to identify such news or just to filter out these such dangerous contents. There are several. Whenever you see or listen one movie or song on this your device, whatever, either computer or mobile, and immediately the Spotify and Netflix, such apps, they keep on suggesting you what to listen and what to view. So that is also an example of AI, and we shall be very careful about this. So yes, right now this is just because of AI. The best part is that you do not feel and you can realize, but there is something who is having a continuous eye on your behavior, on your doings. There are several websites. They are providing you a comparison of if you just give them a schedule and you just give them a destination, they will keep on giving you the solutions, and they will provide you the cheapest booking available for a given schedule. Either you want to book air ticket or hotel booking. There are autopilot flights. They are using it this thing for flight maneuvering. And very recent, we have seen that sometimes here in either Philippines or in this South Asia, we heard about one accident of this of a new Boeing airplane, just because of this wrong validation, or you can say this what we call it. There was something wrong with this validation of the software, and that caused a lot of error, and it was crashed in his very early flights, and several passengers have to lose their life in that. I hope you must be remembering, the event is not very old, and after that all the Boeing planes, they were re-examined for the validation of that software. And AI in retail is there. This Amazon, they are using a lot of AI and similarly Flipkart, etc., they are also following it. So in retail business, AI is being continuously used by tracking the behavior and requirements of the user. So if I ask you to give a quiz, or you just go through this quiz, okay, which of the following can be done using AI at present? So that will be an interesting thing to answer. Like the first point is play a decent game of table tennis. Yes, a robot can do with you, or you can play chess with the machine or the computer or mobile. There is an app. You just start playing with this chess with that. And if I say ki drive safely along a curving mountain road, yes, there are several devices mounted on the car, and they keep on telling you ki, how to drive safely on this curving mountain road. Yes, driving safely along a crowded road, driverless thing is still not possible. So that's why I have put a question mark. The experiments are going on by the Google, and some other companies are also working on it. So this is a new type of intelligence development where this driverless car can drive safely on a crowded road. Buy a week's worth of groceries on the web. Yes, Alexa right now does it for you. You can instruct Alexa, or you can train your Google Assistant for it, and it can buy a grocery for you. It can book a cab for you. It can book a ticket for you. Whatever is possible, that Alexa or this Google Assistant, they can do it for you. But there is still a question mark that someone or some robot can go to the nearby grocery shop and buy it from there. The experiments are going on. There are robots which are sufficiently intelligent, but still they are not that economical. So they may be possessed by everybody. Then discover and prove a new mathematical theorem. Yes, it is going on. It is this work in such direction. It is there, but still we have a feeling that human is a better judge. And this Turing's experiment, Turing's test is also there, which make it still human is found better than the machine, and no machine has till date surpassed the intelligence of human. Though there are several examples in the game of chess, machine has won from the best chess player, or some other examples are there. But still the perfect technology is still not available for this. Then there is one example is converse successfully with another person for an hour. Yes, successfully is more important. The machine is trained for the discussions in that specific domain. I told you example of Sophia the robot, which people have said that that's the most intelligent robot till date available. Then perform a surgical operation. Yes, there are several technologies which are assisting the doctors in performing these surgeries, but till date none of them is doctorless surgery. A surgeon is required to monitor such surgeries, and AI is simply assisting the surgeons in doing that. Put away the dishes and fold the laundry. Yes, the robots are there. They are cleaning the homes. They are washing your dishes. They are doing their. They are capable of doing your lawn grass removing, lawn moving jobs, and road cleaning jobs, your car washing jobs. Such robots are available. Such machines are available where you can push your car, and that will be cleaned automatically. It is properly planned according to that. This programmed according to that. But if you want something that's inside cleaning, that is not possible. It is possible only outside cleaning. So, still the robots are being developed. They are in the process of developing. Translate spoken Chinese into spoken English in real time. Yes, Google Translator is available, and you can write. You can do it with just a click on the computer. Write an intentionally funny story. No, because the standards for giving this funny adjective, they are different for different persons. So that is still not possible. Thus, they can write the poetry, they can write the story. But if we say that a story with this particular attribute, that is not possible yet. So if we go with the timeline of this artificial intelligence, it started from 1950s, as I told you, and initially this was known as artificial intelligence, and the target for which was any technique which enables computers to mimic human behavior. Then around 90s, we started about thinking the machine learning, a subset of AI. That was AI techniques that give computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed to do so, and they were supposed to learn automatically. Then further subset arrived around 2010. That was the deep learning. This is the newest branch in the area of this artificial intelligence. This is a subset of machine learning which make the computation of multi-layer neural network feasible, and neural networks, they are being used. They are extensively used in this deep learning activities. This site is this particular diagram is taken from the Oracle website, and I have properly referred it here. Then comes the AI timeline. This you will find it very, very interesting, as this gives you a complete overview about the development of artificial intelligence. And you can just go through this slide, and you will find that in 1950, Turing test, that was the beginning of the area of AI. Alan Turing, he proposed a test for machine intelligence, that if a machine can trick humans into thinking it is human, then it was intelligence, otherwise not. Until date, no one has been successful in passing that Turing test, though it has been modified several times in between. It is right now not the original test proposed by the Turing, but it has been modified accordingly in between. In 1995, one AI born, the term artificial intelligence is coined by this because AI was the term which was first time used by the McCarthy, John McCarthy, to describe the science and engineering of making intelligent machine. And then 1961, first industrial robot, Unimate, goes to work at General Motors, replacing humans on the assembly line in the industrial. So this was the very first experiment in the industrial sector. Then 1964, Eliza, a pioneer chatbot developed by Joseph at MIT, holds conversation with humans. So this was the first robot which was capable of discussions with the human beings. As I asked you from the quiz, yes, it is possible, but not perfectly. In 1966, the first electronic person, Shaky, that came from the Stanford, is a general purpose mobile robot which reasons about its own actions. Then 1997, a computer from IBM named Deep Blue that defeated the champion Garry Kasparov. Then 1998, they introduces a Kismet, emotionally intelligent robot that detects and responds to human feelings. So this was the robot called Kismet. And so the first consumer robot pet dog, Aibo. Aibo was this short was basically this AI with skills and personality that developed over time. And this was a companion, and this was a hit at that time because everybody was who were ready to have the robot pet, basically they were using this pet dog Aibo for their companionship. In 2002, first mass-produced autonomous robotic cleaner named Roomba, that was learned to navigate and clean homes. So this came in 2002. Then came Siri in 2011. It was first integrated with the iPhone 4S. Then comes in 2011 another thing, that was Watson. Watson was a IBM's robot, so which was capable of answering the questions. And this Watson won the first place on popular $1 million prize television quiz show Jeopardy. So this was the first time when the Watson won against the human participants in that quiz program. 2014, this Eugen Ghostman, a chatbot, passes the Turing test with third of judges believing Eugen is human. Two-third, they still believed that that is a machine, but one-third, that was a condition at that time. So on this basis, this Eugen passed the Turing test. 2014, Alexa was launched by the Amazon, and I hope many of us are aware with this Alexa, who is right now being used for several household tasks also. 2016, this Microsoft chat box Tay goes rogue on social media, making inflammatory and offensive racist comments. We will talk about this biasing also in our next slides, because this behavior of Tay was taken as a threat of AI. But how did it happen, and how this can be avoided? We can discuss. We will discuss this thing in our next slides. Then comes the AlphaGo, the Google AI artificial assistant. It has beaten world champion KG. So this was also a achievement by using AI. So this is the AI timeline which I have attempted to present over here. I hope after this 2017 of the recent development, we can say that 18 in the last quarter of the AI, this Sophia was introduced to the world, and that started its global journey. It traveled across the globe. This Abu Dhabi it became that famous in Abu Dhabi that Sophia was the first robot who got the citizenship of Abu Dhabi, or just UAE the country, that is not Abu Dhabi. So that got the citizenship, as I have read over there, that she got the citizenship of that country. So this was the level of Sophia. And the level of intelligence, you can see a number of videos are available and number of talks about this Sophia in a few of them. On the basis of that, I am just giving this description of Sophia with you. How is AI used? Basically, this use of AI, there are three stages you can say. One is the narrow AI, that is narrow artificial intelligence. Then comes the general AI, and then comes the super AI. And most of the things which we are using in our daily life, they still come in the category of this narrow AI, right? So narrow AI is dedicated to assist with or take over a specific task. Mostly our Google Assistant or Siri or Amazon Alexa, they are doing such specific tasks, and they are all narrow. Then comes the general AI, where it takes knowledgeable from one domain and it transferred to other domain, right? So two different domains are required, and in what is there key, general AI is performant as a human in perception task and is capable of reasoning, but it is still not in much use till date. And super AI, that is still a target to achieve, where machines that are an order of magnitude smarter than humans. So we sometimes take it as a threat also for the survival or the superiority of the human beings. But yes, it is yet to achieve. And I believe that before this day will arrive, human is that smart that he will become and train himself or herself, which is never going, this super AI is never going to surpass the intelligence of human being. Next comes what fuels the AI today. Why this AI has become that important for everybody to learn. Why the government is so much emphasizing on in the education system or in different domains of daily life, just to adapt it and utilize it why the companies they are adapting it in their daily work functioning. Yes, because just because yes, you must believe that without this AI, the survival of everything is going to be tough. Because right now, whatever we are doing, that is based on data. And I told you that more number of devices, more number of users, and more number of resources of this data generation, they are making it important to adapt these AI in our daily life. So by using this diagram, we can say intelligence is basically is the main set, and within which we are going to describe this machine learning and deep learning, as I told you earlier also in the earlier slide also. But we shall see that whatever machine learning or deep learning they are existing within the narrow AI, right? And this block of narrow AI is the widest block within this diagram, as this is being widely explored, right? And the blocks for the general AI and super AI, as I discussed in the last slide, they are yet to be explored. And the width of this block is still very small. And definitely, I know that there are a lot of potential in these general AI and super AI, but still yet to be explored. And I will not comment on this. What else is possible? You can simply think on it, and we can discuss it some later. So if we talk about this machine learning is a process which learns on the past data, where computer is able to perform a specific task without using explicit instructions, and the learning comes from the previous experiences. And within that domain, there comes the deep learning, where the statistical patterns found in past data, they are being utilized for this machine and deep learning both. For example, if I say that machine learning model that is meant to detect automatically animal species, what is I can give you an example. I can show you an example, explain an example for this also. That if I say ki identify, I will show you a picture of an animal and identify, and I ask you to identify the animal. So what will happen? Animal species, you can, if the machine is trained for identifying those different species of animals, it can definitely do that. It can find out if it is a cat or if it is a rabbit. So these things can be identified using the different specific learnings given to the machine through some specific traits or some different pixels or something very specific, for which the machine is trained to distinguish cat from birds, dogs, rabbits, and or some other species. So another sets of features will be picked up in such cases, where this must be able to identify this cat between the different species of cats and between different sizes of cats, etc., etc. So there are many algorithms that are capable to pick up statistical patterns that can be split into two families. One is called the shallow learning, where decision trees and linear regressions are taken care. And second is the deep learning, where deep neural networks with many hidden layers, they are used for it. How this AI generally takes care of this? AI generally falls under these two categories. One is the narrow AI, and as I told you in the last slide, this slide also explains that what is narrow AI. Sometimes it is also referred as weak AI. This kind of AI operates within a limited context and is a simulation of human intelligence. It is often focused on performing a single task extremely well. You can take the example of this Google Assistant or Alexa, and you can identify some websites, AI help available on the websites, as it is clearly that these AIs are focused on performing a single task extremely well, right? They are operating under far more constraints and limitations, and even the boast they sometimes do better than yourself when you are searching something on website. So basically they are especially trained AI techniques or AI bots which are available on websites, specific websites, which are trained to do the jobs perfectly for you. Suppose you are you can take example of this hotel searching sites, or you can take example of this ticket searching this websites like this, like Make My Trip or Yatra.com. And the very recent successful example was the Google Flights, where Google launched this portal. And I have found in my personal on the basis of my personal experience, I can say that that is the most relevant answers or the solutions were available on the website Google Flight in comparison to this Make My Trip or Yatra.com, etc. So this all is an example of narrow AI, where specific work was being assigned to the artificial intelligence trained bots. And that next comes the artificial general intelligence. Sometimes it referred as a strong AI also. It is the kind of AI we see in the movies, like robots we have seen, or some Star Trek. That is also a very good example of this. And then there was one advanced part of this Star Trek, that was the Star Trek The Next Generation, where these AGI machine with general intelligence and much like human being capacity, they were being used for some very unbelievable tasks performed by those robots or humans. Definitely they were the super intelligent humans, as I am showing in this diagram, that super AI human, which are still not existing. They are simply in the imaginations. So we can see that this most of this narrow AI is available than this general AI or super AI. And this narrow AI has experienced numerous breakthrough in the last decade. Because this whatever has been developed, this has been developed in last 10-12 years. And there was a report published in 2016, 2016, that was the preparing for the future of artificial intelligence, and that told this AI as a significant societal benefits have contributed to the economic vitality of the nation, as it was claimed by one report published in 2016 by this Obama administration in USA. So this way, this artificial intelligence, specifically within the domain of narrow AI, has established its usefulness and its importance in our daily life. Then comes, if we talk about this difference between this machine learning and deep learning, so we can say this narrow AI is used for different breakthroughs in machine learning and deep learning. This difference between this AI and machine learning and deep learning is not that thick walls are there. Very thin walls are there between this AI, machine learning and deep learning. So this one venture capitalist named Frank Chain has distinguished with his good overview that artificial intelligence is a set of algorithms and intelligence to try to mimic human intelligence. Machine learning is one of them, and deep learning is one of those machine learning techniques. So on this basis, we have drawn this diagram for presenting it to you. So if we say it simply, that machine learning feeds a computer data and uses statistical techniques to help it learn how to get progressively better at a task without having specifically programmed for that task, right? Initially, what we were doing in the very beginning, we were training the machines for some specific tasks. But in case of machine learning, there is or train the computer for some specific task, and it is learning by itself. So that is the basic thing which machine learning is doing. And in this way, this has eliminated the need for millions of lines of written codes or thousands of lines of written code which we had to do earlier for artificial intelligence. So we can say that machine learning consists of both supervised learning and unsupervised learning, whereas deep learning is a type of machine learning that runs input through a biologically inspired neural network architecture and within this domain of machine learning. So we can say that this neural network contains a number of, we all are aware that it has a number of hidden layers through which the data is processed, allowing the machine to go deep in its learning, making connections and waiting input for the best results. This is the way how these ANN works. We all know that. So now I will move ahead with, I think this description is, we have given sufficient time to this description. So this is, now the next slide is how does AI works. So basically with this diagram, we can see that there are certain data which has been taken from some data storage, and this data translated data into complex, and there are some algorithms which is processed through these things. Then this goes, then this predicts something, and then some new data also comes to the algorithm, and then a comparison. On the basis of comparison, the error process is errors are reduced, so just to make the predictions better and error free. So on this basis we can say this AI works by combining large amount of data with fast iterative processing and intelligent algorithms, allowing the software to learn automatically from patterns or features in the data. Yes, we have to identify the patterns, we have to identify the features of the data, and accordingly we have to classify it, cluster it, or use it. Computers are good at following processes, that is sequence to steps to execute any task. If we give a computer steps to execute a task, it should easily be able to complete it. And definitely the steps are nothing but algorithms. It can be as simple as printing two numbers or adding two numbers and then print the addition, or as difficult as predicting who will win election in the coming years. Yes, that is being used extensively by our TV channels nowadays, and just to increase their TRP, or similarly we can similar predictions are available even the elections are not there. Several type of predictions are available on the TV. So simply that is we shall be happy that they are using artificial intelligence. Our research area of interest, they are using that. Then comes the major subfields of artificial intelligence. By this diagram, we can see that this cognitive computing, computer vision, machine learning, neural networks, deep learning, and natural language processing, they are being used for it. These are the conventional domain knowledges from computer science, automation, information engineering, mathematics, psychology, linguistics, and philosophy. They are being used in these subfields. We will take one by one and describe them. Cognitive computing is a subfield of AI that strives for a natural human-like interaction with machines. Using AI and cognitive computing, the ultimate goal is for machine to simulate human. Yes. Any questions? Using AI and I was talking about this cognitive computing. The ultimate goal is for a machine to simulate human processes, interpret images and speech, and then speak coherently in response. Then comes the computer vision. The next is computer vision. It relies on pattern recognition and deep learning to recognize what is shown in the video or in the picture. when machines can process, analyze, and understand images, they can capture images or video in real time and interpret their surroundings. Recently, several this image processing or this facial recognition. Hello. Hello.
Sir, please continue. Nothing, sir.
अच्छा अच्छा कोई बात नहीं. So I was describing this computer vision. It relies on this pattern recognition and you can say this deep learning to recognize what any picture or video speaks about. I was telling that this facial recognition or this was being used as an effective COVID control feature in China. Several reports were there, and but this facial recognition has recently been used by this Android devices also as a lock. Basically, earlier there was a thumb impression or something like that to be used as a protection, but right now they are also using this facial recognition. Passwords are there. They use this feature. Then comes the machine learning. This automates the analytical model building using methods from neural networks, statistics. Then comes the OR, operation research, and basic physics to find hidden insight available in data without explicitly being programmed or from for where to look and what to conclude. So no specific coding is required for this particular subset.
क्या चल रहा है?
क्या चल रहा है? चलिए. A neural network is then comes the neural networks. This is also a type of machine learning, you can say, that is made of interconnected units like neurons that processes information by responding to external inputs, relaying information between each unit. The process requires multiple passes at the data to find connection and derive meaningful output from undefined data. So this is the neural network. Then comes the deep learning. Deep learning uses neural networks with many layers, multiple layers of processing units, taking advantages of advancements in computing power and improved training techniques to learn complex patterns in large amount of data. So common applications are in the area of image recognition or speech recognition, etc., etc. Then finally it comes the natural language processing. This is the ability of computers to analyze, understand, and generate human language, including speech. The next stage of NLP is natural language interaction, you can say, which allows humans to communicate with computers using normal everyday language to ask them to perform tasks. So these are the different subfields, and here I can show you that in a recent paper I have identified some new things also. They are identified here as a social network analysis, visualization, audio analytics. They are also coming as a very new additions in the current scenario. Additionally, there are several technologies and they are available to support artificial intelligence, such as graphical processing units, which are the key to AI as they provide the heavy computational power that is required for this iterative processing. Training neural networks that required big data plus computer power in a large amount. Second is the supporting you can take as a Internet of Things. Internet, it generates a huge amount of data from connected devices. Most of it they are mostly unanalyzed. Automating models with AI, they are required to enough information available. It's enormous amount of information available. Then comes the advanced algorithms. They are being developed day to day, and they are combined in new ways to analyze data faster and at different levels, you can say. This intelligent processing is key to identifying and predicting rare events, understanding complex systems, and optimizing unique scenarios. Then comes the application programming interfaces. They are the portable packages or codes, you can say, that make it possible to add AI functionality to existing products and software packages. They can add this image recognition capabilities to home security systems, or they can ask they can add this question and answer capabilities to that data, which can describe data, that can create captions, that can create headlines, or identify some interesting patterns, or summary, or some, you can say, the exact word is the insights from that data. So these are the few things which are continuously being added up with artificial intelligence and their subfields. This is the development till date, you can say. I may have missed a few points among these, but yes, these are the specific subdomains available. This thing. Then comes the challenges. I will talk about these challenges of using AI. Yes, the challenges are given as data quality and quantity, because in AI they require massive data training. AI learns from available information in a way similar to human, but in order to identify patterns, it needs much more data than humans do. So additionally, the difference is that AI can analyze data with a speed as we humans cannot even dream of. Yes, so it learns fast. It needs much data in comparison to human, but it learns faster just because of the speed. So it is our responsibility ki when we train it, we must provide a better data to get a better outcome. So what happens, this AI learns from data. There is no other way which knowledge can be incorporated in it. That means any accuracies in the data will be reflected in the results. And any additional layer of prediction or analysis have to be added separately in this. So this decides about the data quality and quantity. Then comes the data labeling. Earlier, our data was structured or textual. Nowadays, with the IoT, a large share of data is made up of images and videos. There is nothing wrong with it. But many of the systems using machine learning or deep learning are trained in a supervised way. So they require the data to be labeled. So this when we are producing this much amount of data in a very large range, and right now we have reached to a point where this labeling of data has been become a challenge. So there are some standard data labeling approaches that we have to adopt, such as synthetic labeling or data programming, etc., etc. But all of these approaches of data labeling, they have their cons, and must be aware about that. Next thing is the explainability. Basically, these all models available in AI, they are basically black box models. their user end up with a conclusion that is, for example, a prediction, but no explanation to it. You will get an output, but if you say how did it identified, it is the user is not in a position to give any explanation of that, because this everything is happening within a black box, or it is being done by a code written in a black box. So if the conclusion provided by the system overlaps with what the user already knows, yes, this is an expected results, so he is not going to question it. But what may happen in case of disagreement? If user wants to know how this decision has been made by the artificial intelligence or the software you are using, so in this case there may be a difficulty, and user is not in a position to explain the things. Even the doctors, sometimes they do not rely solely on the suggestions provided by the systems when it is about their patient's health. So that is the one of the most crucial example of AI. So there is still more need to add these explanations, this specific requirement of explainability that shall be added in the artificial intelligence based systems. Then comes the case specific learning. Mostly the AI, whatever most of the AI is developed, they are developed for some specific requirements. And in case of human, what happens? The human intelligence allows to use the experience from one field to some different field also. That is called the transfer of learning in case in human language. Humans can transfer learning in one context, they can use it for some other context also, or some other similar context, they can make these transfer of learning. But AI continues to have difficulties carrying its experiences from one set of circumstances to some other set of another. The systems such as, you can just take an example, the software used for our system trained to play the chess, that cannot be employed for using or playing some other board games such as poker or something like that. The system that detects fraud in banking system, that cannot be used for driving a car, or that cannot be give you a legal advice. So these systems are very, very specialized, and they are focused on a single task. And as I already told you that we are using this narrow AI right till now, till this point of time, we are using narrow AI, and it is expected when we are going to use this general AI or this superhuman AI, then there is a possibility that such things may happen. Next point is the bias, which I'm going to discuss here. Bias is that is really a worry, because we are depending upon AI for decisions, and there are several examples. One artificial intelligence system was that was biased for some decisions. That was a case I told you. Just a minute. Yeah, that was the 2016 Microsoft chat box that was blamed for making inflammatory and offensive racist comments on social media. And that was simply the reason, because this all is depending on the data. This all is depending upon the data set which we are considering. So what happens? This available data, sometimes what happens, it comes as an opinion, right? And this opinion we have is also dependent upon so many factors, as how we have collected data, among whom we have collected data, in what reason we have collected data, or in what season we have collected data. So in these ways, or we have by what means we have collected data. Suppose we are collecting data through some magazine, and there is a specific set of persons of a specific interest. They are reading that magazine. right? So definitely that we have identified a specific class among the society, from which we are collecting the data, and it is impossible that we shall use the outcome of this data and we shall predict this outcome for the complete society. No, it is not possible. So in that case, definitely when you will use this data for the complete society, it will definitely show a bias. And in that case, there may be a possibility that people or the users may not accept the outcome of this AI system. So so different parameters are very important, as I told you, when you are collecting data, so that the output of the AI system that is acceptable to all. So that is very important. So next, there are so many such challenges. There are some challenges for the privacy issues also, because I told you that AI is having continuous eye on you. And recently, what this face detection system, some people have raised their objections on this face detection. So on several airports in the United States of America, they have stopped this face scanning, and they have stopped using AI with face scanning features. So this is not in use just because of those objections raised by the users. So right now, let me come to the last one of the last slides, that is conclusions. We shall come it where, because this all is about the data. The use of AI is simply important because we are going to have this enormous amount of data. And just because of there was a term named big data, which clearly identified that the universe of data, this data that doubles in every 2 years, right? And then there is a Moore's law which says that the doubling of computing power, computing power is being doubled in every 18 to 20 months. And this is the way how this information technology is increasing day by day, and it is penetrating in our lives, in daily lives. You can see that billions of smartphones and other devices, they collect and transmit data over high-speed global networks, store data in very large data centers, and analyze it using increasingly powerful and sophisticated softwares. So this way, data is everywhere, it is coming. This deployment of 5G networks and this upcoming quantum computing technology, this data explosion is going to be more faster and bigger. And in this way, we can simply assess what will be the interference of AI in our life, and definitely it is going to be mandatory for decision making and its implementation. Further, as artificial intelligence evolves, it magnifies the ability to use personal information in ways that can every person can feel a intrusion in their privacy interest, by raising analysis of personal information, what you want to eat, what you want to do, which picture you want to see, which where you shall go on the holidays, etc., etc. These are the questions on which we are getting continuous suggestions on our websites or through our emails. So this is again a threat. But to deal with these issues, we must familiarize ourselves with AI. We shall not run away from it. We shall come forward and adapt this AI, and we shall try to take the control of this AI in our hand. And I think this is the easiest way to understand the process, how to use this AI in our life, and how to use the AI in a controlled way in our life. Yes, nothing is 100% perfect, but being prepared for any problems that can occur along the way, that is because we all shall accept this AI is a very beneficial thing for us. This is going to make our life easy, but when we are using it with a controlled way, then only we are in a comfortable position also. So this is all from my side, and I would seek the permission of the organizers to conclude my slideshow. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Sir, thank you, sir. Sir, there I can see so many questions in chat box, but I will take a few of them. Sir, sir, the first question
Yeah.
is from. Yes,
Just
sir.
a minute. Let me end this slideshow,
Sure,
and
sir. Sure.
then let me come back to this. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Yeah, please.
Okay,
Now
sir.
I can see this. Oh.
Okay, sir. The first question from Jaisari Vadin. Uh, he or she is asking, please suggest and explain any experimentation in power quality management.
Yes, power quality management, AI is being used in the signal processing. Several signal processing techniques, they are being used for this. We are using our research scholars, they are using this signal processing for sag identification. We have used it for harmonic identification, and for that in future we are basically the limitation is that we are not having the experts, right?
Okay.
So the experts in the domain of machine learning, they are very limited. So engineering or technology does not allow to use black boxes for research problems. Actually, these black boxes may be used for some specific application. uh, so in future we also feel that this whenever the experts of the machine learning, they are available, we can use it for this identification of power quality events. They are starting, when they are starting, when they are ending, etc., etc.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. One more question is from Abhinya in Bamani. Can you explain any project which you have done by integrating AI with renewable energy?
No, I have not used till date, because uh, this basically you need a lot of data for using this AI. As I have already in every point I have emphasized that a huge amount of data is required for this. So still in Indian research scenario, practical data is still unavailable, or it is wherever it is available, they are not ready to share with, because there is a huge gap between this industry and academic community. So, but in literature, there are several examples of AI plus renewable energy, and I can definitely give so many examples to you. You can ask it. You can take my email, and we can discuss it sometime later.
Okay, sir. Sir, so many questions from Dr. Bal Mukund Sarma. So I will pick any one from these questions because we are shortage of time. So the first question from Dr. Bal Mukund Sarma is, how artificial intelligence is related to the human-based nature? How AI is related to the human-based nature?
Yes, basically human-based nature, and this all is, as I started right from the beginning, I think I repeated it several times, because the AI is an attempt to mimic or imitate the human behavior. So which part of the human behavior is important? Basically, the most important thing of human behavior which is important, that is the decision making. That is the capacity to decide what to do, when to do, and how to do. Right? So these are the few things which are important for decision making. Any question? Are you saying something?
No, sir. No, sir.
So Balmukunji can see that there are several. Which part of the human tendency is important in decision making? Accordingly, he can decide by himself. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Sir, thank you very much, sir. Now I requesting Dr. Vijay Pratap Singh, sir, to give vote of thanks.
So I request all the viewers, you can have my email ID here. This is ashish@mnnit.ac.in. Though I am not an expert on this area of artificial intelligence, I am also simply a beginner in this area. Yes, but we have intentions to do these things or apply these things in the area of power quality and power system operations. We are doing so many things. You can contact me if you have any query in the related fields. You are most welcome.
Sir, I would like to add one more thing, that so many participants are asking for the PPT you have presented. So,
I think Dr. Vijay Pratap will share this lecture with these. And
okay.
PPTs, I think they shall not be asked. Basically, that is an IPR. Though I have, there is no harm in that. But it
Okay,
shall
sir.
not be shared with the participants, yes. So
Okay, sir.
I think whatever I have presented and whatever I have spoken out, that is available in this video recording and you can share it with them.
Sure, sir.
Right?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Dr. Vijay, sir, please.
Thank you, sir, for giving a very informative talk on artificial intelligence. I want to quote some few points. Sir have started with very basic definition of AI is a set of science, theories, techniques, which includes mathematical logic. Sir has also discussed a very interesting thing, that is the ABCD of artificial intelligence, which is very basics for the beginners. That portion was very interesting and informative. Sir have also explained what can be done using AI or not through several examples. And one thing I also want to mention here, sir, we have received many compliments for your presentation. Few of them are wonderful, amazing, knowledgeable from the chat box. Once again, thank you, sir, for your time and your for informative talk. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vijay, Dr. Vijay. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and giving me an opportunity with the interaction of participant. Though it was a very limited one, but yes, अगर ये हम लोग सामने आमने सामने होते तो इसका आनंद कुछ और होता.
Sir, thank you, sir. This session is over now.
Okay.
The next session will start at 2:30 p.m. The topic is application of AI in electrical energy and its overview. The talk will be delivered by the eminent Professor R.K. Singh from MNIT Prayagraj. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Recording stop.